Derek, the big news this week in Super League is the new deal with Sky has been announced. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously, there was a bit of a leak beforehand, which it's always disappointing when that happens. Wasn't factually correct anyway, but that's normally the case. So that was disappointing. But yeah, I think everybody knows it's a very difficult landscape at the minute for sports clubs and broadcasters. There's not massive competition. IMG and Narrow Commercial managed to engage some competitiveness in there. And we need to remember that the original valuation of Super League by Sky when they did the last deal for now was to be prepared to go to 17 million, which would have been over 35% decrease. And have a significant impact. So to achieve the deal that they have, we can't be naive and just look at the headline number because it's more than that. So what has been done is there's been a lot of retention of rights that provide the opportunity to achieve far more income than what's perhaps not in the headline figure. So collectively, over time, you'll see the productiveness and the work that's been done there by RL Commercial and IMG, which I think, under the circumstances, is the best outcome that they could have got. And I, for one, I'm looking forward to how we can capitalise on that. A big headline for me is the fact that all games will be live and watchable, and by being on at largely different times as well, getting games on Saturdays, games on Sundays, I think it takes pressure off the officials department, which is something I think we need to invest more in as a sport, and hopefully we can find a way of doing that within the way things are distributed. And that gives the opportunity as well for video refs at every game, which I think is absolutely imperative. So that's a real positive direction that we're travelling in there, and I think it opens up the opportunity for captain's call, which is something I think is a good part of the game in the NRL. If you look at, for example, the final, the Challenge Cup final against OKR, there was a contentious decision that, had they not kicked out on the full, could possibly have won OKR the game from a decision that, when everybody looks back on it with the benefit of the Sky cameras, it isn't a knock-on. It isn't a ball steal, sorry, it is a knock-on. So if you've got captain's call, there's a legitimate reason to use it, but it could have already gone in the game, who knows. So, but I just think it's a good point from it. And then being able to hit, the instances as they come out. I think Rodri referred to it in the meeting that, the drop goal by Harry Smith for Wigan Hull game from miles out. It's an instantaneous thing that can get out there. Wigan can instantly put that out there, and we can capture those moments quickly rather than down the line on a Saturday morning or whatever it may be. So yeah, I think there's lots of good things on it. I likened it myself to, if you've got a business and you're selling crisps and the area that you're allowed to sell them to is restricted, but your price is higher, and then somebody comes along and says, listen, I'm going to give you less for your crisps, but there's a massive audience you can now go to, then I'm taking that option, and that's in a nutshell what I believe has been achieved.
There's a lot of anger amongst fans at the minute that some games aren't shown. How important for the integrity is it that every game now has that option?
It's massive, because every game should be the same, and fans do get frustrated, so do owners, so do players, and so do coaches, and so do the officials. Let's have it straight, because they're out there, they come as a team, like we come as a team, like OKR will come as a team on Friday, and they'll do their warm-up, they'll do their review, they'll do the review on our players and what to watch for. They'll do the review on OKR players and what to watch for. And they have an idea of how both teams perform. So they put a lot of effort and detail into it. And then they do the same review as we do. So they go out there to give their best performance. And there's a load of things going on, and there's all the noise, and they've got the touches giving them help, and they're getting influenced by crowds and shouts. And it's a difficult job, and they need as much help as they can get. So if they're allowed to go to a screen, or there's a video ref there, and they can just have a chat, take that moment. In that game I referred to earlier, if there is a video ref in that game, but if Chris Kendall's walking over to his touch judge and he's getting some advice off Liam Moore as he's walking over to discuss it with the touch judge, he can take as long as he wants in that chat, and we get that call right in every game. We have the opportunity of getting it right so that the players decide the outcome of the game, and their errors decide the outcome of the game, not an official's error, because they will make them, as we all do in life, they will make them. So I think that's a huge thing, a huge plus for the fans. And let's not forget, there's a significant cost to having a 6-7 camera setup at every game. Every Super League game, six games, that setup and the commentators and the presenters, etc. It's a significant cost. So we get a real opportunity there to monetize that, to broaden our horizons, to get the Leopard brand as big as we can, to attract fans from outside and make it easy for people to watch. And as much as Sky are massive for the game, and without them over the last 30 years, where would we be? But anything that's behind a subscription-based paywall that can't be just isolated for the rugby games lessens the amount of people that can see it, and that's evident when you look at the viewers we get on a Sky game compared to the viewers you get on a free-to-air game, say on Channel 4 or BBC. So now we've got that opportunity to get the figure right. And what's important now as well for me is that as clubs we work together, and I think we need to probably centralise the whole thing and have it as an opportunity where you can buy, say, a pass just for Leopards games, or you could buy a pass for just Leopards away games, or you could buy a pass for every game for every club, and have different ways that you can take part in this, even down to just pay-per-view for one game. But there also needs to be a way that whilst that's centralised and we can distribute it well so that everybody can benefit and up our standards, which is the whole idea of what IMG are doing, is increasing standards. We also need to make sure that clubs are incentivised by the number of people they bring to the table as well. So there's quite a lot of work for the clubs to do together through RL Commercial, but I think working together is key.